So, I had a really bad night terror last night. And so I decided today is just gonna be a self-care day. And also, it's my 4 weeks of sobriety. I hit 4 weeks today. So it's also celebrating that. And so, anyway, I'm watching The Legend of Korra. Because Avatar: The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra, I consider them, even though they're two separate shows, I consider them both Avatar. Um, and growing up, Avatar was my favorite show. And I'm like getting emotional, like just like watching the first episode of Korra because like it just hits different, you know? Like seeing all the characters grown up. Like, Katara in old age and like her son and like how like just like all of Korra's mentors, at the beginning of the show are like very disapproving of her and like kind of frustrated with her that she is like she excels at the physical side of bending but doesn't have the spiritual side. And she can be, hot-headed and aggressive and stuff like that. And I remember when Korra first came out, I really resented her and I didn't like her because she was so different from Aang, and she wasn't like Aang, like at all. She was like the complete polar opposite. And I remember thinking like, this isn't Aang, this isn't Avatar, this isn't what I wanted. I wanted this like something like a continuation, but it ended up being a completely different story. And now I'm actually really grateful for Korra and her story, because I think I realized the reason why I was so frustrated by Korra is because she reminded me of myself so much. She really reminded me of myself. And just like the way I treated Korra is like the way I treated myself. Like, I was just like so mean to myself and resented myself for being the way that I was. And I get so emotional watching it, just like like and now as an adult, I actually like Korra better. I like the show a lot better than Avatar, and I never thought it would be that way. It just like, I'm so sorry to myself and to Korra, like, for how I treated both of us, like, and how I resented us and how I went along with like what everyone else was saying. And like, if you go on like Twitter and stuff, which I don't use, but there's so much hate for Korra. Like, everyone just like fucking hates her. And I think that's the easy route to take. And honestly, the show got a lot of hate because it wasn't like Avatar. It wasn't like The Last Airbender. But it was like exactly what we needed, and I'm so excited for this next animated series to come out. Like, I've been waiting so long for them to continue this world and add more to it. And yeah, like, I'm so excited, and I'm gonna go into it with an open mind. I know it's probably not going to be like either of the shows that I've seen before, and I'm really excited to see what it is. Um, but just like, I don't know, like watching it now, watching all these things now, like I get so emotional. Just the little moments that hit different that I didn't notice before, like how like all of Korra's mentors are, talking down on her and telling her that she's, not doing it right because she's not living up to their perception of what the Avatar should be based on, the example that Aang led. And like she's not supposed to be like Aang. She's a different fucking person, and that's okay. Like, and just like how they're so disapproving, like at the first scene when Korra's doing her firebending test and just like kicking ass, and they're all like disapproving of her because she's like too aggressive, quote. And Katara is just beaming down on her and smiling and like loving everything that she's doing. Like, and she just has so much unconditional support, and it just hit me that like, she sees Aang's spirit in her, even though she's completely different. Like, she doesn't need for her to be the same as Aang. Like, she had her time with Aang, and Aang passed, and now, like, it's Korra's time. And now we're about to go into a new era where I think the name is Pavi of the next Avatar, and yeah, it gets me really emotional. Just the little things that I didn't notice before, and God, I just love Korra so fucking much now as an adult. Like, she's like, I'm the Avatar, and you have to deal with it. And like, I just love her for like how much space she takes up, and how she is herself, and and she grows a lot. She grows so much by the end of the show, and she becomes so wise and level-headed, and it's amazing the growth that she goes through. And I honestly feel like she grew a lot more than Aang did in the show. Aang certainly grew in his own way, but Korra's transformation was outstanding and impeccable. And I'm just so grateful that like as an adult now I can watch Korra and not resent her for who she is. And I think that's like so telling of like my journey and like accepting myself, because I was really bullied a lot growing up by teachers, by students, by authority figures. Just pretty much everyone bullied me for who I was. And it was because I will admit I had a lot of maladapting coping mechanisms from growing up in an abusive environment. And I wasn't the nicest, I wasn't the kindest, I was hot-headed, I was aggressive. And I was all of those things, but I didn't deserve to be bullied because of it, like by like so many people in my life, like so many music teachers, so many other teachers, my acting teacher, the whole acting department. Like a kid literally slapped me in the face and the whole department celebrated. And it was just so traumatic to go through. And it really made me like hate myself and internalize this idea inside of me that I was bad and that I was evil and that I was wrong for who I was. And I think I still have a tendency to look at myself through that lens of being bad. And I really want to challenge myself to look back on myself with so much love and kindness and acceptance for exactly who I was, despite my flaws, and even because of my flaws, loving myself for my imperfections and for the areas of growth, because, like, not every, if you start out perfect, you don't have room to grow. And where's the fun in life of that? And so, yeah, I really hope that I can take this new perception that I have of Korra, of like loving her exactly for who she is, and like knowing that, she has her imperfections, she has her hot-headedness, her aggressiveness, her impulsivity, all of which reminded me of myself. And um and basically, yeah, um I got a phone call, so I got a little distracted. But I'm hoping I can take that lens of how I see Korra and apply it to myself, and like maybe practice. Like, I have a lot of memories that come up, a lot of flashbacks that come up throughout the day of things I might have said and things I might have done, and like I carry a lot of shame for that. And I think maybe I can challenge myself to look at myself with love and acceptance and say, like, it's okay that you did that really fucked up thing. You didn't know, and it gave you an opportunity to grow. And like, this in no way excuses or diminishes the harmful impact that I might have had on another person from that, but it's not fair of myself to just focus only on the impact I had. And like, it seems carceral to me. It's giving punishment, it's giving the criminal justice system, which fucking sucks, by the way. Like, I shouldn't be putting myself in a prison, metaphorically, because of mistakes that I made. Like, I recognize the harmful impact. I learned from that, and that I don't want to have it again, and I changed my behavior accordingly. And like, I'm not doing the same thing now. Like, I'm different now. And so for me to like hold that against myself for my whole life, of like, you did this really fucked up thing back then when you didn't know better, um it's not fair. It's not fair that I hold myself to that standard, especially when I give so many people grace in my life. It's like, where is that grace for me? um so yeah, that's pretty much it. That's what I wanted to share. Thanks for listening.